Hello everybody, Resonance here. Today I'll be doing another update video in which I will talk about the new videos that I'm working on, some news on the upcoming African Kingdoms expansion for Age of Empires 2, stuff about my personal life, possible changes to my video and livestream format, ways you can help, and my thoughts on other things. This video will basically cover everything that's on my mind, and you can expect me to ramble a bit, but you know me, I love to talk. So anyway, first things first, new videos are on the way. If you've been following my channel recently, then you've probably noticed that my uploading has been a little bit sparse and sporadic recently. I generally try to upload videos more frequently than this. I hold myself to about 3-ish a week, and I haven't really been able to keep up with that recently. And there are a couple reasons for this. The first reason being is that, you've heard me mention this before if you've been following my content, I have very severe allergies and asthma. It is far worse than you can imagine. And during 2 months of the year, September and April, it is exceptionally bad and a difficult time to be Resonance 22. Usually during those 2 months I'm very sick due to whatever is seasonally blooming in the area. There's just too much dust, too much pollen, it's awful, so I don't normally do that much recording when I feel sick, because I'm a firm believer in quality over quantity. When I upload something, I want people to be, excited and they know that it's going to be good. And same thing with streaming, so I don't stream or record as often when I feel very sick. So that's something that, generally April and September is sort of like a dry spell for me, and then, normally in that time I do a bunch of bulk recording on days that I feel good, because it always varies, from week to week. So when I feel better, I usually do a huge chunk of bulk recording, and that way I can keep the uploads rolling in that time. I will have pre-highlighted all the stuff on Twitch. So that's normally what I do, but I haven't actually been able to do that recently because of all the schoolwork I've had. If you're not aware, I actually am a community college student currently, and next year I do plan to transfer to another school, so it'll be fall 2016. And what that entails is that, at the end of September I had to submit the first part of my transfer application, so that took up a lot of my free time. I had classes also starting in September, and, well, doing things like my Python project took a lot longer than I thought it would be. It was very difficult, as well as working on my history essay, so I've been very busy with school, and so yeah, that's where my uploads have been recently. I've been very busy. And the good news is, though, is that now that I'm feeling better, my health is doing much, much better, and I'm also done with most of my schoolwork for the meantime, I have some free time to do some recording. So I will say that within a week or two, and I'm very bad with deadlines, but we'll say tentatively within a week or two, don't go anywhere, more uploads are on the way. Thank you so much for sticking by me during this, brief period of absence and not going anywhere, as there are more uploads on the way. And that also means more Break the Meta. I'll talk about that shortly, but the first thing that I wanted to talk about before I go into the awesome new Break the Meta episodes that are on the way, I've got a bunch of them planned out, I can't wait to record them. I wanted to talk a little bit about the upcoming expansions to Age of Empires 2, as well as Age of Mythology. If you've been following the Age of Empires 2 scene at all, if you follow me on Facebook and Twitter, I have mentioned numerous times that there's a new expansion coming out for Age of Empires 2. It's African Kingdoms, and then we also have a Age of Mythology expansion on the way as well, which I really, really didn't expect. Now, let me see if I can get this on the screen, as OBS absolutely hates me. There we go. African Kingdoms on the way. These games are ancient, both Age of Empires 2 and Age of Mythology, and, there was a long time where, I think I echo the sentiments of most of the community where we thought Microsoft sort of forgot about us, and it's great that we got not only the HD edition, but the extended edition for Age of Mythology, and now even new content with The Forgotten coming out, a few years ago. Now we have African Kingdoms, another expansion that's coming out very, very soon, and I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to feature 5 new civilizations. We don't know that much in the realm of details about it, but it's something I'm really looking forward to playing. And they recently announced that Age of Mythology gets another expansion too, which blew my mind. I really can't believe it, especially considering how poorly Age of Mythology Extended Edition has been doing on Steam recently. It's been in a rather steep decline. The player base is disappearing due to performance issues, and it's just really hard to get a game nowadays. So I'm surprised that the developers are actually working on an expansion for that game, but they are, and that's pretty cool. It's actually the same development team that's been working on The Forgotten and African Kingdoms is actually going to be doing the Age of Mythology 1 as well, and you can see a little bit of that. Here's a screenshot from African Kingdoms. I'm really looking forward to playing this. The Forgotten is something that has sort of, revived my interest in Age of Empires 2, really keeps the game fresh. I love the way that the developers have been handling things like balance and civ design and how the graphics, just everything seems to feel as though it was originally released with the game, right? And I feel like it's very difficult to get things to fit with the theme, and I'm going to be doing a lot of content on African Kingdoms when it comes out, but the question is, when does it come out? I know what you're thinking. Resonance, there's no question when it comes out. You've announced this before. We all know it's November 5th. If you recall, we had an announcement stream for Age of Mythology, Tale of the Dragon. Microsoft did one on the official Age of Empires Twitch channel, where they showed us some sample gameplay. They showed the new civilization, the Chinese. These are the 3 gods. This is the official artwork for the game. They teased a bunch of the new units and new features that come with the expansion. Hopefully it comes packaged with some performance improvements too, and it revives interest in the game. The important part of the stream is that at the very end, they mentioned that, well, the important part if you're just an Age of Empires fan, is that they actually mentioned the release date for African Kingdoms. They said November 5th. November 5th, that was the one that we were told throughout the entire stream. It's November 5th is when African Kingdoms comes out, and that Tale of the Dragon will be ready for release on January 2016. However, apparently that's not true. I watched, okay, like, I was watching the Age of Empires stream again yesterday, and the Microsoft guys announced that actually they got the release dates mixed up on the Age of Mythology stream. I cannot believe it. They actually got the release dates mixed up, apparently. And they said it the wrong way. Apparently African Kingdoms doesn't come out on November 5th. It comes out in January 2016, sometime in January, we don't know specifically when, and the Tale of the Dragon is the one that's coming out on November 5th. However, I went to their website, and this is their official blog, and it says November 11th, 2015. So, honestly, I have no idea when Tale of the Dragon comes out. I have no idea when African Kingdoms comes out. I'm incredibly confused right now. I will say this, it looks like African Kingdoms comes out in January 2016, so not nearly as soon as we thought, and it's Tale of the Dragon that comes out first. Now, originally I was very upset when I heard that African Kingdoms was coming out on November 5th, because I've had such plans for African Kingdoms related content. I've been really looking forward to trying the new expansion out. And the thing is that November 5th happens to be when I'm out of town. I'm actually going to BlizzCon with my friends on a lengthy, awesome road trip from November 5th through the 8th. We're going, to be driving across California, down south to Anaheim for BlizzCon. It's going to be great. BlizzCon is a huge sort of gaming convention for all the Blizzard games, and they're going to be teasing things like Overwatch, Legacy of the Void for StarCraft 2. There's all sorts of Diablo content, Warcraft content, Here's the Storm, Hearthstone. Something I've always wanted to go to, and thanks to your guys' continued support, special thanks to everybody who's donated, subbed to me on Twitch. For those of you who don't use AdBlock, your support has allowed me to just barely scrounge together enough funds to afford to go to BlizzCon. I can't wait for that, and I appreciate everybody as well. Even if you use AdBlock, ads piss me off too, I understand. Or if you have no extra money, I'm just happy to have you. So I'm going to BlizzCon, and that means that I thought I was going to miss on the African Kingdoms release day, so that was really disappointing. I thought I wasn't going to be able to make any content on it until I got back from my trip, so... but apparently, I guess I'm not going to be missing the African Kingdoms release day. If it does come out in January, then easy sneezy. I don't think I have anything planned then, so I would be able to cover that in great detail. And by the way, if you happen to be going to BlizzCon, let me know, and I'd be happy to, do a little fan meetup or something like that if anyone's actually going to be there. I don't anticipate too many of you guys are going to be at BlizzCon, but maybe. I also don't know how people would identify me. Maybe I'll have like a name tag or something, or people will recognize my voice. I have no idea. It's going to be a fun trip. I'll probably post some pictures on that whenever I go do that. It's gonna be fun. So anyway, what this means though is that if Tale of the Dragon comes out on the 5th, I won't be able to cover it until I get back from my trip, so I would be covering it around November 11th. Or maybe it actually comes out November 11th, like we don't really know, right? So I'll be doing some content on Tale of the Dragon. Let me know how much you want to see. I'll be doing at least a few videos on it, tentatively. But however many videos I actually do really just depends on your guys' feedback. If you're interested in seeing some Age of Mythology, let me know below. I would love to do some content on it. I'm not a big Age of Mythology player, not an expert on the game. I follow a little bit of the pro scene, so I know some stuff about it, but I'm very much out of practice. And, well, if it comes with some performance fixes, and if it does turn out to be very good, then it's something that I look forward to. And I'm just glad that these old games are getting some love, because I think that if you like Age of Empires 2, you might really enjoy Age of Mythology. And now, a little bit more on the topic of African Kingdoms. Apparently, they're having a voice acting competition for this game, which you've also probably heard of. And the deadline for this is actually October 11th, this coming Sunday. So if you plan to submit anything to this voice acting competition, you gotta do that ASAP. Basically, I'll have a link to this in the video description, just like everything you need and more. And what you can do is you submit them, just email to this email address yourself reading off this line in your best Malian and Nigerian voice, and then it will be added to the campaign if it's good enough. I'll be entering in this competition. A bunch of people have been asking me. I'm not very confident in my Malian or Nigerian accent, so I don't expect to win, but you never know. Hopefully one of us wins. If it's not me, hopefully it's one of you guys, and I hope the voice acting is good, because there will actually be voice acting this time. Not only does the campaign come with full English voice acting, but they said that they've learned from their past mistakes, and that the campaign is not going to feature nearly as many situations where you have like a small group of units that you just have to micro through heavily scripted cutscenes, which is what The Forgotten was mostly about. And that it's going to be more in the style of the classic Age of Kings, the Conquerors campaigns that we all know and love. That feature a lot more like macro scenarios, just a standard Age of Empires 2 game with a twist. I like that. A lot more empire building. So I also plan to, cover the expansion and perhaps do a playthrough of it. Again, let me know if you're interested in this. Feedback is one of the most important things you can do to help me out, is just leave me your feedback. Tell me about the things that you would like to see and the things that you're enjoying about my channel. I plan to do, tentatively, a playthrough of the campaign, and I will be submitting something for this voice acting campaign, for the competition. Hopefully I win, we'll see, or someone with a really good audition wins. I'm looking forward to that. Let's talk a little bit about Break the Meta. Because Break the Meta is something that I started working on when I was in a huge slump with my channel. The viewership was declining, people were not renewing their subscriptions to me on Twitch. I was in, a slump, right? And I felt like I needed to do something to mix up my content, keep things fresh. I needed an idea. I was just sort of surrounded by this negative feedback loop of people telling me, all day that, they used to enjoy my videos, but it's just so repetitive, and I need to do something. And the first thing I wanted to do was to differentiate my YouTube channel from my Twitch channel a bit more. I always would like to be uploading, the matches from my Twitch page for the people who miss out on the stream. It's a great way for people to, check out some good first-person gameplay, but I wanted to add something that was unique to my YouTube channel. And the solution came when I was talking to Cision, one of the developers, the lead developers for Forgotten Empires, as well as African Kingdoms and Tail the Dragon. I love talking with this guy. He has this old community website called AOC Box where he's been compiling replays. He doesn't update this anymore. This is his new website, ForgottenEmpires.net. He used to manage this old website called AOC Box that had like a compilation of, sort of older Age of Empires 2 matches that feature like non-standard strategies and really showcase how much depth Age of Empires 2 still has, despite not having, like how much depth and variety it still has, despite not having any official balance updates in over a decade. And I love the idea. So I wanted to sort of, as a tribute to all the work Decision's done for the community, I wanted to turn that into a video series, and that's where Break the Meta came in. My idea for Break the Meta has always been, I want to showcase situations where uncommon strategies, civilizations, units can work well on an expert level. I've always been trying to focus on the expert metagame though, and there seems to be a little bit of a discrepancy between what I believe Break the Meta is and what some people believe Break the Meta is. So I wanted to sort of clear this up and explain what I think the series should be and why. I'm trying to focus more on the expert gameplay side of things, or just the expert metagame, because, well, really, anything can sort of work if you execute it very well on the lower ladder. So we see a very, very different, like, pub metagame than we do at the highest level. If you go to, like, highest level Age of Empires 2, a lot of it just seems almost scripted, very, very predictable. If the settings are, relatively standard, we basically only see like the same 5 civilizations: Huns, Aztecs, Mayans, and Mongols, and Vikings, and I guess Chinese on Nomad. There's some variety. Like sometimes you see some things like Persians, but you'll like never see Turks, for example, or like the Goths picked, or the Teutons. It's rare that those are picked. There are times, but generally the metagame is a little bit repetitive at the highest level. So I wanted to showcase sort of the different side of it, because there will be situations in which something a little bit non-standard works. And I've been focusing more on the expert metagame because when you go down to the lower ladder, things are more varied. And if I wanted to showcase strategies that you don't see at any point in the ladder, it would involve, I guess, like there's like a finite number of those strategies, right? There's only a certain, there are only a few flavors of cheese in Age of Empires 2. There are only so many strategies where you just delete your town center, where you Persian douche someone. So I felt like I would just run out of videos very, very fast for that. Like I would do like 3 videos and it's like, well, that's it, guys. Like that's all the stuff you'll never see because everything else just doesn't work and it's completely troll. So I've been focusing more on the expert side of things. And this means that I have been doing, and I would still like to do, things like that, that the Goths video where that player fast castle ages into Huskarls. That is generally a non-standard thing. And I know what you're thinking, like, that is something that the Goths always do. They always just, make Huskarls. They just spam Huskarls. But in an expert game, you would never pick the Goths in a 1v1 in Arabia. Like, generally speaking, you won't unless there's some sort of, like, hidden civ function. You predict your opponent to go for Mayans or some weird, metagaming thing like that. The Goths are just not something that you would pick. And let alone, you would never see them fast castle age into Huskarls. That's something that, a handful of expert Age of Empires 2 players like to do, but the Goths are just not a standard pick. So that's why I tried to do something like that. Same thing with the Cataphracts thing for the Byzantines. The Cataphracts might be an iconic unit for the Byzantines, but they'll never actually get to do that in a pro game. It's too slow. You have to, it's so expensive. You have to get the castle. You have to get all those upgrades. That's why I like to showcase situations like that. Same thing with the Turks Fast Imp. You'll never see that in a pro game. It's very rare, even though you see it in the lower level pubs. I know those aren't as interesting to watch because you guys have seen those strategies before and you experience that a lot when you ladder like I do. But I feel like for the longevity of the series, to make sure it's sustainable, we have to keep a broader definition for what is acceptable for Break the Meta, I guess, rather than just showcasing weird cheese. Now, the thing is that I spend a lot of my time like browsing through various replays because I know eventually I'm going to run out of the good stuff from AOC Box. I have all the AOC Box replays, so please don't recommend any of those. I have them all, don't worry. Eventually I'm going to run out of those, so I've been searching through AOC Zone, and I've been looking for replays here, and most of the stuff is relatively standard, but I just don't have time to look through everything. And something that I would like from you guys is I've come up with a system, and I'm not exactly sure how successful this will be, so I might discontinue this at some point, or I might continue doing this, keep your eyes peeled, is that you guys can help me out and help me keep a more consistent upload schedule for Break the Meta by submitting me replays that you find or replays of yourself. Now, the first thing I'm going to cover is replays that you find, and I'll have full information on how you can do this in the video description, so please make sure you read this carefully and follow that format, or I won't look at it, as I need to keep things very organized. Is the finding replays. So you definitely go to AOC Zone. I don't have the time to look through all these individually, but I'm sure that some of them will feature uncommon strategies, civilizations, or units that are working well because of a specific situation. And this can be something as small as that one game that I had, the 1v1 Aztecs Arena with that house wall in. That was super cool. It's a trap one. It could be something like that. It could be a fire ship rush. It could just feature the Turks. I'm pretty flexible on this. If you want to browse through all these replays, that's totally okay. If it features a strategy that I've already done, that's fine too. I plan to revisit them. Feel free to go look through all these, send them to me, follow the instructions in the video description. If you find something that meets my definition of Break the Meta, by all means feel free to send it to me. And what you can do is, let's say you find a match, you would send me like this link is the one I'm looking for, preferably with no spoilers, and then I would just download it from here. Another thing you can do is if you happen to be watching people streaming, as all sorts of pro Age of Empires 2 players do stream all the time. If you're watching their stream and they happen to play an interesting game, you can just go to their Voobly profile. Like, you could type fire in here in the search bar, it'll take you to his profile. Then you go to like matches. And you can see here that it should have almost every match that he's played recently and a link to that replay. So you could just send me that as well, and that would be incredibly helpful to me. If you happen to see a pro player just streaming and they have a specifically interesting game, send it my way. There are instructions in the video description below. Now, besides that, by the way, oh, whoops, that's the wrong button. Here you go. One thing that I wanted to cover before I talk about the next point is that here is the email address that I want you to submit these replays to if you want to give me a hand. If you have some free time and you happen to follow the competitive scene at Age of Empires 2, give me a hand, send the replays to resonance22replays@gmail.com. More info in the video description below, the full instructions. I don't know if I'll actually type out the email address in the video description because I'm concerned about spam bots just like searching for that and then just spamming my inbox with whatever stuff that they would send me, so I might just leave it on the actual screen itself. Besides expert gameplay, I'm open to the idea of just having viewer-submitted games that feature, you guys. Like some gameplay of yourself. I'm open to that idea, and please let me know below what you think of that, if you would be willing to watch Break the Meta that doesn't feature the top players. Still though, if I do showcase some viewer-submitted games, What I would like is that the gameplay in them still be good. Like, I don't think you need to be a top-level Voobly player at all. But I don't want the play to be particularly very sloppy on either side of the spectrum. I would prefer that the strategy is, like, justifiable in some way, right? Like, you can, like, there's a situation where this is potentially a good idea. I would like it to be justifiable rather than a just for the lulz type thing. And I would not like to see a ridiculous amount of misplays on both sides. I don't want the strategy to work purely because your opponent deleted their town center at the start of the game. They're like 5 minutes behind, for example. I don't want to see 5 minutes of town center idle time on either side, or... It should feature, like, somewhat polished gameplay, right? So, it's okay if it's not perfect, but there should be a reason where this might be a good idea, and it should be executed kind of well. Let me show you an example of what I absolutely do not want to see, and hopefully this shows you what I'm looking for. Alright, so let's go jump into this real quick. Bet you thought there was going to be no gameplay in my update video, but if you lasted this long, you get rewarded with some professional Age of Empires 2 trolling. Check out this Ralby versus Doubt replay. This is not what I want to see. So, I want uncommon, non-standard strategies, but it has to be a strategy, right? It has to be a real strategy. I do not want to see someone... It has to kind of work. Like, I don't want to see anyone, going for a petard rush. You build only petards and you happen to win. Like, the only way you would win in that situation is if your opponent doesn't happen to be have a pulse. They would just be a stack of plywood. I don't want that. I want real strategies, and here's a not real strategy. Here's something I don't want to see. Robbie's going to farm rush Doubt here. Farm rush is not a real strategy. Please do not submit your farm rushes to me. It wastes my time having to, look through those replays. As funny as it is, this is not engaging or interesting gameplay in any way whatsoever. Like, what would I talk about if Break the Meta was just trolling? It should be... Trolling is an art, in this case. I want it to be... I'm trying to think of a way I can phrase this. Messing around in as serious of a manner as possible. You're trying to make it work. Like, there has to be something viable about it. It should be situational, not completely retarded. And in this case, this is not a real strategy. You literally can't win a game off going for a farm rush. I don't want to see you take all your villagers at the start of the game, villager rush someone. I mean, maybe if you do it really well, maybe that's okay, but... it's also okay if it's a strategy, again, that I've covered before, if you want to submit your Persian douches, but I would rather stay away from things that, like, cheese, set the precedent where all I do is cheese strategies, and do something that's a little bit unique. And it can be a small moment, again, where you, like, house wall in your opponent's army, maybe you tag team with your friends, and you, like, 5-man tower rush some guy, maybe you go for mass Indian elephant archers. These are things I'd like to see. If you do them well, and there is some degree of justification for it, by all means, feel free to submit it. Follow the instructions very carefully in the video description. Let me know a little bit about the strategy, brief description. Like, look at this farmer. This is not a real strategy. I don't want to see this gameplay. I'm going to fast forward a little bit here just so you can see a little bit more of this before I finish off this video by talking about a couple of changes that I plan on tentatively perhaps doing for my YouTube and our Twitch pages. Robbie's getting close, by the way. He's trying to get these farm path to Doubt as quickly as possible. And it looks like Doubt's gonna move in here, but the thing is though is that, like, Doubt's is he gonna kill a villager here? Oh, sick, look at this snipe. Ooh, almost some jukes here. Doubt obviously very confused. He doesn't know what's going on in this situation, and in a moment he's gonna ask Ralby, like, what exactly is Ralby doing? Here come the farms. Oh, it's so VM. Come on, Doubt, you gotta stop. Oh, it's 2 villagers down. Oh, it's absolutely brutal. Doubt gonna take a moment here to go type. And Ralby's just going to keep inching the line forward. He has to replace those villagers. It's brutal. Oh, really? Is the chat not working? Well, either way, he asks, like, what are you doing? And then, of course, Doubt stops. I don't want to see anything like this. I'd like it to be a more reasonable strategy. Now, back onto the channel. This is a long update video, but there are a lot of things on my mind. I just want to keep you guys up to date. In a week or two, regular-ish upload schedule. By the way, if you wanted to get on my live stream, I mention this all the time, but I have to be super clear about this because there seems to be some confusion still. People show up, they're like, how do I know when you're streaming next? Head over to my Twitch page, scroll underneath the video player, and that way you can find my schedule, update it every day. That's how you know when I'm streaming next. Alright, let's talk a little bit about live streaming, though. Let's talk a little bit about this live stream format. I feel like I've sort of shoehorned myself into a corner here with this idea that I only do viewer games. It's very difficult to set up viewer games and just only do that. It takes a long time to get everyone in the lobby, and when I do something like, let's say, Hearthstone, a lot of people are like, Rez, I really want to play with or against you. I really want to play a game of Hearthstone with you. I've noticed that when people lose, like sometimes they just get really salty because of RNG. People take it too seriously in like a 1v1 format. Same thing with Pokemon. They're like, oh my god, I demand a rematch. It takes forever to get that all set up. I don't think it's as fun to do. It might be fun for you if you're actually playing in the game, but it really like slows down the whole live streaming format, and I don't think it's as interesting, I guess. I would live stream a lot more if I could just say ladder in Hearthstone, and I know that that might not... I know that that might like disappoint you in some way if I wanted to do just some like laddering in Hearthstone or Age of Empires or whatever game I'm playing rather than just do viewer games, but I would still keep the same level of viewer interaction that I have now. I would still read the chat, talk to you guys, involve you guys in as much of a way as possible. I just think that it really limits what I can do if I'm only doing viewer games. It sort of creates like this big hassle. I have to fill my friends list up with people, invite them, I have to wait for everyone to get in the lobby. I just want to play some games, And I would like to be able to play some single-player games. I would like to be able to stream the African Kingdoms campaign, maybe the Tale of the Dragon Age of Mythology campaign. I'd like to just be able to do those things and just have more options. So hopefully, most of you are willing to keep an open mind, and you understand that I do plan to keep the same Age of Empires 2 format where I play viewer games, but I would like to be able to also just not do that sometimes, Hopefully that makes sense. So that's something that's on my mind. I would like to change the live stream format a bit. I'll still be doing the same like community streams where I do all sorts of viewer games, but I don't want to make that a trend for every game that I play, every stream that I do. I want to be able to mix it up. And that means, of course, that I can also just, stream more expert games as well, whatever you guys want to see. I'm open to ideas. And in terms of YouTube, I also plan to... I'm not sure if I'll do this now, but at some point in the future, I plan to change the way that I title my videos, the way I do my video description. I would like to tinker with that a little bit, as I think that my current titles are a little bit not optimal, I guess. I would like to change the way that I handle the description as well, because it takes me forever to type the video description for each and every video, and then, type up the comments as well. I would like to sort of streamline that, that way I can upload a little bit quicker, and it would also improve my search results. So, I'll still have all sorts of information in there that's useful, but it's just something that you might see a change in the way that I title my videos and whatnot. I want to make the videos easier to find, and a little bit better organized, and less time consuming for me to type up the descriptions for everything. So I might be changing that in the future. And with the live streams, you can expect the same Age of Empires 2 community streams, the usual thing, but I might mix it up from time to time, and extra streams might just not feature viewer games. I hope you guys understand that. Let's see, is there anything else that I wanted to talk about here? Oh yeah, besides Break the Meta, I'm also open to just other ideas for like video series or games you guys want me to play. Like, I want you guys to understand I am Mr. Feedback. You shouldn't be afraid to just, suggest me things, be like, hey, I like that you do this, but I also think that you could do this. Like, I'm all ears. If you're respectful and polite about it, I'm all ears. I'd love to read your feedback. So if you have any ideas for like perhaps a different type of series besides Break the Meta, or maybe I should be splitting Break the Meta into, expert, like just trolling gameplay, and then like a strategy spotlight series. Maybe I would split it into 2 different ones. I have no idea. Maybe this is a series that I should just be doing in general with Age of Empires 2. Are there other games I should be playing? One thing that would help me out a lot is if you leave a lengthy comment below, and I will read all of them, even though I won't get a chance to respond to all of them. I will read all of them, and I do read all my comments. Leave a lengthy comment below. Tell me about the things that you enjoy about my videos. Tell me your favorite things. Tell me what you like about the way I do things. If you have any favorite videos or favorite moments, let me know what those are too. I would also like to hear how you found my channel. That's something that would help me out a lot as well. And if you just have any suggestions, any ideas, if I know what I do right, I can keep doing more of that in the future and just make my channel the best I can make it and be the best content producer I can be. So that's the goal here. From time to time, you will see me mixing in games that aren't Age of Empires 2. And that's not because I'm quitting Age of Empires 2 anytime soon, but it's more like for the longevity of my channel, I think I need to be able to mix things up, especially because I've noticed that a reasonable chunk of my viewer base just doesn't play Age of Empires 2 that much, and that some of you guys just come here for me. So I like to sort of mix up my content, have something to supplement AoE 2. I still have no idea what that should be. If I believed that there was a very, very good modern RTS game, in a similar style to AoE 2, that's what I would be doing, but I don't believe that exists currently. So, you know, you'll see me mixing it up from time to time. Prismata is something that I might do more of. This game is still really early in development, so we'll see. It's something that I will certainly cover more on when it actually is finished in development. And I've got my eyes peeled on projects like Empires Apart and Project Atlas. Project Atlas is something I'm very excited for. Hopefully that one is very good. And Empires Apart, when it's fully developed, Feudal Wars as well. These are things that are on my mind. If you have any suggestions, again, I'm all ears, open to feedback. And yeah, so let's see. Anything else I was supposed to cover here? Yeah, when I say good modern RTS game, by the way, I mean, I don't think that... I don't think that the RTS genre... I'll probably do a separate video on this, but I'll just cover this point really briefly. I don't think that the MOBA genre is, like, something that has, like, hostily replaced, you know, I guess the RTS genre. I don't believe that. I believe that if a good modern RTS game is released, people will play it. It's just we haven't had one in so long. Like, StarCraft 2 was almost insanely good. This is just my personal opinion. But I feel like, you know, Blizzard took a very lax approach to balancing, and they released content so slowly that the hype kind of died for it. I think that if they actually took a game like Age of Empires 2 and they ported it to a modern engine with, like, routine content updates and it's just super polished, I would play the crap out of it. I'm looking for, like, a good modern RTS game, meaning that one that's actually, like, continually supported by developers. That's something I would like to see, and hopefully Project Atlas turns out that way. Maybe we'll see something interesting with Feudal Wars, or Empires Apart, or maybe something just awesome comes out. Maybe I do some StarCraft 2. I have no idea. I'm open to your thoughts, but I don't think the RTS genre is a dead genre. I think it can work. I think it can be slow like Age of Empires 2, as long as it's modern and awesome. Now, the last point that I wanted to cover before I end this video is, one, I just want to say thank you so much for your continued support. I treasure each and every one of you, and that's why I try to get to know everyone on a personal level. That's why I do my stream, just to interact with you guys, hang out with you guys, and even if I'm doing something single player, the focus is still on the viewers, is to just chat with everybody, get to know everyone. I think we have an awesome community here. I think the Age of Empires 2 community and the community that we've built around my channel is just full of friendly, great people. So thank you so much for being a part of this. I know that not everybody has, you know, the ability to, you know, donate or sub. That's absolutely fine. There are plenty other ways to support my channel. In fact, the most important thing you can do to support my channel is to just be there. Just watch my stuff. That's something that makes, like, a huge difference. Another thing that you could do is, a lot of people ask me this, you know, Resonance, how can I help support the channel? How can I help make your life a little bit easier? How can I help you? I have no money. What can I do? One of the things that you can do if you're one of those people who want to help out is just, you know, flip off ad block if you want. I know that ads are really annoying, and I use ad block too, don't worry. Like, I'm human, I swear. I do turn it off, though, for my favorite streamers and YouTube channels. In this case, any ad that runs on YouTube or Twitch, a small portion of the revenue does go to me. And by small, I mean it's like ad revenue is microscopic unless you have a lot of views. It is, like, really tiny. But every little bit helps. It does help. So, if you're willing to, feel free to turn off ad block. Just know that the ad revenue does go to me. Some of it does go to me if you are willing to sit through that. I understand, though. I understand that ads are really annoying, so you don't have to do that. Leaving a comment and leaving a like, just leaving a like makes an absolutely colossal difference. It only takes a minute, so if you're willing to do that on my videos, I cannot stress how helpful that is. Leaving a comment, too, just letting me know what you enjoy. What you enjoy about the way I do my stuff helps out a lot, too, in that regard. So yeah, those are the things you can do. You leave a like, helps out a lot. So I think that's about everything that I wanted to cover in this video. Hopefully you found this informative in some way. I just like to keep you guys up to date, let you know what I'm up to. There is a lot more content on the way within a week or two, and I absolutely cannot wait for African Kingdoms, and Tail the Dragon is something that I will be doing some coverage of as well. And I'll see you all next time. Thank you so much for watching. The next episodes of Break the Meta and just generic stuff from my Twitch page, they're on the way. They're going to be good. Can't wait to show you guys. I'll see you all next time. Thank you for watching.